Hello, it's Sherry Siemens again for Cornish Heritage Farms. In my last video I showed you some basic laying down ink and some techniques to help you get started with your friendly critters. And today I'm going to show you just quickly some Copic coloring techniques that I use when I color my friendly critters. The best thing to do is to use your packaging as your guide. If you're not sure where to start, it's a great reference to start with, and they all come with this beautiful colored image, and it's a great place to start. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to color this little hedgehog, and I'll give you some pointers as I go along, but let's get coloring. The way I like to start is I like to lay down my lightest color first. In this case I'm going to use E50. And that is going to be the lightest part of my hedgehog. So what you want to do is you want to saturate your paper, color in circles, and lay down your light color first. So the bottom of his feet, his hands, his belly, and around his eyes is lighter. Okay. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to color the rest of him in my lightest tone. And now my tone that I chose was E35 for this. And what you want to do is you just want to color the rest of him in. And I like to kind of take on the feel of the image that I'm coloring. In this case, being a hedgehog, near the top, I want to go in kind of a spiky direction because he is kind of spiky. And that helps give him a little bit more dimension too. The great thing about these Tom Allen stamps from Cornish is they are so well detailed. If you've ever stamped with their Thomas Kincaid line, these are very similar in the way of their detail. A lot of the shading is already incorporated in the stamp, and it's a great guide for when you want to do your own shading, or if you want to do a little extra shading. You just follow the stamp and it really leads you to the tendencies of dark and light areas. Okay, now once you've laid down that base color, go back to your light and touch it to the tip of this other marker that you were just using, and oops, sorry about that, blend in the little lines that are transitioning between the two colors. It's just nice not to have a really super stark contrast, so keep it darker near the edges and lighter towards the center. So you just kind of go where the edges would be darker and then fill in the rest with your light marker so that you don't see any of those lines or seams. And if you just use just the straight marker over an area that you've already colored, you'll just achieve kind of a half a shade darker than what you started with. Okay, oh, and I missed his hands. You gotta blend in where his hands meet his fur there. Now I'm using the Chow markers from the Copic line, which is exactly the same ink and the same nibs as the sketch line. There's a lot of, questions on what is what, and so that's what I started with, so that's what I will continue to use. Now for shading on the hedgehog himself, I take a little bit darker shade, the E37, and I have my E35, and I touch my E35 to my 37, and just in the areas where where the stamp tends to be darker, meaning there's more ink laid down, or where you think there would be darker shadows, is where you just kind of give an extra bout of color. And definitely near the bottom where his body meets the ground, those are definitely darker areas. Also too in his tail here, because you want to give his tail some definition. And often, you know, little pieces around his face, so there's nice contrast and you're drawn into his cute little face. Now if you make a blunder, which I did there by his eye, which you can probably see, that is a great use for the blender pen. Now the blender pen often removes color, so if you go up to where you did a little bit over the line, use your blender pen, and look at that, it just fixes it. I love that. It's like a magic pen. All right, next I'll move on to his little cantaloupe there, and I've chosen Y21 as a little bit of a nice melon color, and you want to color all the way around. And a little bit on the inside. And then you want to color the fleshy color of the cantaloupe, which I've chosen YR16 as kind of a bright cantaloupe color. And there's some seeds mixed in there, so leave some spaces to color those seeds. I went back over with my yellow color again just to hit a few of those seeds. Now on the photo, you can see that there's these green lines on his cantaloupe and around the opening, but indicating the rind. So I'm going to try and duplicate that with G14 and just basically trace those lines in that green marker. And around the opening. So cute. Looks like he's got his hand in the cookie jar there. Now, he needs a little bit of pinky coloring. So definitely, I grabbed the RV10 and I'm going to add some pink to his ears and add some pink to his cheeks and a little bit to the bottom of his feet. And then I'm going to blend it in with that light color that I had used to color the light part of his body initially. And that'll just help spread out the color. All right, and one last little touch for him is to color the little spot of his eyes. And also his tongue. This is R29, nice bright red. And there you have it. That's the hedgehog. And doesn't he look cute? So there's some ideas with the Copic markers, and I can get into a little bit more of that in some future videos. So thanks for watching. Bye.